Hey guys, it's Kay from KS Anonymous, and I am back today with another episode of r/We Won't Call You. Massively complicated interview ends unexpectedly. This isn't about me, I got the job, but another person's observation about a group interview reminded me of this story. There's a big candy manufacturer in my area known for marshmallow treats. I had always heard it was so great to work there, and certainly the pay was good. They only hire once a year. So when that time came up, I sent in my resume. I didn't know at the time they had recently changed their interview process. They got an influx of executives from a place that everyone knows. Let's say they make big trucks. The candy manufacturer had been family run with a lot of nepotism, but had gotten to the generation that didn't want anything to do with the business and just wanted to live on the money. So they brought in all these new executives from a completely different industry, and hence the new and very complicated interview process. Which makes what happened at the end all the more weirder. Let me explain the process. I was assigned a time to show up at a local convention hotel. There was easily over 100 people for that time slot, and this ran 2 days. We were all spread out in this big auditorium, and someone got up to speak after we had been given a paper and pencil. She states some basics about the job and that they would only be hiring 18 people. Now, for the tests. She said she was going to speak for 3 minutes. She would not repeat anything, and there would be no questions. We could start writing the second she started the timer and started speaking. I forgot how long we had to write after she finished. She gave these instructions very clearly, and 3 times. We had to repeat what she said, essentially. It was very clear. She started the timer and started speaking. She was very clear and spoke slowly. I, like several others, started jotting down notes immediately. Others sat and stared. But the second she stopped talking, at least 20 hands went up in the air. People would not stop asking questions until they actually shouted that there would be no questions. It was a listening test. Then we were given a mathematical statistical test. It was mostly straightforward, simple math and simple graphs, and yes, in some positions these would be used. Then we were finally let go. Those that passed those tests were called back for an interview. There were 3 interviewers, 2 to fire questions at you, 1 to write down responses. Won't toot my own horn, but the writer couldn't keep up with me. I like these type of interviews. I had them laughing. It was all situational type questions. Name a time when there was a conflict with a coworker, what happened and how did you resolve it? Hour-long interview. For those that passed that, then there was the bizarre group interview. We were scheduled in groups of 6. Once in the room, we were assigned a color. We were always identified by that color then, and not allowed to use our names. Guess they really wanted to get rid of nepotism. Spoiler alert, they didn't. In my group alone, 2 people were direct blood relatives of people that already worked there, and they got hired, and both were horrible employees. There were 2 group leaders directing everything, and then 6 people whose sole purpose was to follow each one of us individually and write down everything we said or did. It was creepy as heck. Like something out of a comedy or horror movie. The 2 directors were nice enough and explained everything clearly. I don't remember what the first exercise was. The second I remember quite clearly. We were split into pairs. They showed us a tower made of Legos holding a Coke can. Each pair was responsible for building one part of the tower. One pair the base, ours was the middle part, and the last pair the platform. I poked my partner and said, "Watch, they're going to take it away." Sure enough, time started and they took away the tower. It became immediately apparent that we were not given the same Lego or enough Legos. Had to make do with what you had. My partner and I in the base group did fine, but then we had 1 minute to put it all together and hold the can. The platform people had issues. It wasn't holding the can. One of the guys from the base pair started panicking that we were all going to fail. He started shouting and dancing around. He suddenly grabbed the can, popped it open, and started frantically chugging it warm. Gross. He then crumpled it up and placed it on the tower. He looked so proud of himself as he shouted, "You didn't say it had to be a full can!" Actually, they did, buddy. Their faces were priceless. I guess they never had anyone do that before. He did not get the job. I'm like, to go through all of that and then panic or make a joke, whatever he was doing, I felt bad for him in a way. The third exercise was another group interview with us all in a group and the directors asking questions, but this time it was all about safety. It was a formality, clearly. They were bored asking the questions and we were bored answering them. Very standard general questions. Then they asked this one woman, I forget exactly what, but very nominal question like, what do you do if you see an open unattended ladder or something? She froze like a deer in headlights. She wouldn't answer anything at all. They even tried to lead her to answer and she kept saying, I don't know. I don't know. Then they flat out asked her if she would first report it maybe. She just kept saying, I don't know. I don't know how you can get through all the other stuff and be stopped by that. Unless the stress got to her and they finally broke her. She didn't get hired either. Final note, that still wasn't the end. We had to do a physical exam, then several hours of where we had to do the motions of some of the positions, and then finally a hair follicle drug test. Personally, I got one of the spots and it turned out to be the worst job I ever had. The work itself was so ridiculously unergonomic, and it could have been mismanaged, and then their interview process sucked because the atmosphere was akin to everything you hated about high school and worse. They literally had a woman who purposefully ran someone over with a forklift and didn't get fired. She actually bragged about it. I lasted 2 years and said the money wasn't worth it and left. To be fair, 2 years is longer than I would have made it. I've gone through really complicated interview processes. Really complicated as in maybe not as normal as like, hi, come in here, we talk, okay, bye, let you know what happens, you know what I mean? But nothing this complicated. I have had to fill out like an entire history of my entire human existence on the planet one time because I wanted to get a job at the police station. I feel like I told you guys about this before. So I've done that, and I've had a panel interview before, which sucks. I hate panel interviews. They're the worst. And you know, the thing is, if I ever move to like Japan and want a job, I'm probably gonna have to have a panel interview. And here's why I think that. Because all of the shows that show people going through the interview process, always it's them sitting in front of a giant panel of people. Anyway, that's probably never gonna happen to me, so it's fine. I don't know where we're going with this, but yeah, that's absurd. And it's really frustrating for them to like go through all of that and then just end up with a really crappy work environment. Why would you do that to people? Like, what's the point? What's the point? If you're gonna design weird, like, tasks for the interview, like, wouldn't you design them in such a way that you, like, cultivate, like, the best people to work with? I don't know. But the fact that you couldn't listen, I hate it when people can't listen. It is an actual problem, though. Like, some people literally, like, they just can't. It's not that they're not trying to. It's just, like, their brain isn't processing properly. But I have a feeling that at least some of those people who raised their hands just straight up weren't trying. I'm just saying, I could be wrong. I don't know. I could be wrong. We're doing interviews and have had 2 exceptionally good candidates for this sub. 1, we live in a state where marijuana is decriminalized. We asked one about his current unemployment, and he explained that he was fired for smoking weed at work, on the clock, in the office. He explained that they were in the wrong since you can't fire an employee for smoking weed. You can, it's written in our law, and they're lucky he didn't call the cops on them then and there. We won't call you. 2, an interviewee was asked when they would like to schedule an interview. Right now. I can do it right now. We appreciate your eagerness, but we'll have 3 people interviewing, so we need to schedule. Well, if you guys won't take me seriously, then I won't interview at all. Call me when you change your mind. Sure. That I will not call you. Yeah, I feel like that response is almost like, you know, the really bad dating advice and stuff. It's exactly that same method as choosing beggars. It's like, here's what I want from you. We're on super good terms because I think you're amazing and wonderful and amazing and awesome. And then I'm going to insult the crap out of you because somehow that's going to get me what I want. No, that's not how that works. Okay. Heady job. Worked for a brewery a few years ago that was named after a Grateful Dead song and had a lot of beers named after things to do with music, heady merch, etc. At the same time, they always kept it very professional. When we got to final interview stage, it was just me and one other candidate left. The dude apparently crushed his interview and was about to get the job over me. When asked why he wanted the job as the last question, he replied, "Because you guys are heady and smoke weed and stuff, you know? Grateful Dead." Because of this guy's dumb response to the last question, I got the job. Oh my god. I guess like that you just shouldn't be too confident. Maybe that's the thing. Like he just was like, "Hey, I got this job. We like all vibing, yeah." And they're like, "No." No, man. Just why did you have to say that? A little too honest. A coworker of mine interviewed to be an assistant manager at our company. He was asked what he thought would be the most challenging aspect of this potential new role. He confidently told the interviewer that people find him intimidating and are afraid to come to him when they need help. He did not get the job. Yeah, I've learned that when you tell people weaknesses, don't tell them the ones that would like completely make you a really bad fit. So like that's why I didn't even bother. I had the opportunity to interview with a phone call place or whatever. But that's one of my weakest points. So like if I'm in an interview, like for a phone call place, like a call center, I'm not gonna be like, I hate phone calls. That's my worst time, because they're like, you need to do that for this job. Like, I mean, I'm proud of myself for knowing that you don't do that. To be fair, I'm probably the worst interviewee. Slightly above these people, just very slightly though. Like very slightly. He checked all the boxes. I work at a foreign company in constant need for engineers. A guy I know went to the interview and he did, in my opinion, all the don'ts. He said his goal is to work for a local company, not foreign. He highlighted that he knows how difficult it is to work with locals since they are terrible in making decisions. The head of HR interviewing him is a local. When asked about his tasks in his previous job, he said we could just ask the people listed as references instead of him. His reference list was just friends and acquaintances that had never worked with him. I was one of his references. We had worked in the same company years ago for 3 months and never crossed a single email. He did not get the job. He politely asked for tips and areas of improvement for the future. The above was duly conveyed. You want to be great and be like, yeah, dude, like, there's an opening at my job. We need more people. You need a job. Perfect. Problem is, sometimes your friends just kind of suck. Especially at the interview thing. My husband referred someone, and in the interview, he informed them that he just wanted somewhere where he didn't have to work as hard in the interview. And this is not like it's McDonald's, okay? This is a nice paying job in my personal opinion for our area. Does require you to work hard and use your brain. It's not like straight up manual labor or anything, but still, like, you still gotta do a lot, and you are like working like in a shop and everything. So like an interview, that's terrible, but like it was extra bad, and it came back to my husband, and I'm like, oh my god. And so like it's hard because like I think that's actually why some people, I think when you put them down as a reference, it's an automatic no, because everyone they've referred before has sucked. So, hi there. If you can, please drop off your resume at Amore Gelato, 71 William Street to apply. Oh, okay. What time? Question. Anytime the store is open, which is from 12 to 8. Okay, thanks. I'm glad. I don't even have a bike to get there. Yeah, sorry. The owners are only taking physical resumes dropped off at the store. I really wish I could get a tip for cab. I can't walk hundreds miles. then I don't think you'll be able to apply for the job because you don't seem to be able to commute to the store if you do get the job, unfortunately. Thanks. I would go end myself. What? Oh my god. That escalated quickly? What? First of all, what? So, I swear, I don't know what's going on with some of these people. If they're trolling, if they're, like, on something, or if they really honestly believe that they're gonna, like, guilt a local place into giving them a tip for cab to get there to drop off a resume. And then hundreds of miles, like, bruh, if you're hundreds of miles away, like, apply somewhere else. So that's probably a bit of an exaggeration on their part, I would assume. But here's the thing. As much as I want to believe that this has got to be trolling, right? I know people who are like this. Who, like, really believe that it's okay to try to coerce, like, a future job to do all this stuff to accommodate you even applying and interviewing. No. What? Are you still 12? Like, I don't understand, man. Stupid me. When I was 20, I applied to be a teller in a local bank. There was an easy math test and an interview. When asked what my biggest weakness was, I said, I don't do well with stupid people. This may be true, but lesson learned that it won't usually get you a job in customer service. No, it won't. You're gonna be dealing with stupid people every day, guaranteed, multiple times a day. But, okay, is it just me, though? Like, I feel like bank tellers are, like, the, like, elite version of people who do customer service. And why I say that is, like, they don't seem to be bothered if they're, like, a tad snooty to you. I don't know why, but my experience with bank tellers, not everyone, obviously, right? I've had some good experiences, but a lot of the times I feel like they're annoyed by my existence and they're just like, ew, like, can you move along? And I don't know, but, like, does anybody else have that experience? Is this just me? Like, I need to know this. My experience with a group interview. This was a few years ago. I had reached the point in my life where I had started to look for my first job to work part-time while I'm at high school. I live in a small city in Australia, and every teen wants to work at the cinemas. This is because the work is ridiculously easy, and you also get free movie tickets for yourself and one other person whenever you want. I hand my resume in, and not too long after, I receive an email saying I have landed an interview. However, it's for a group interview. The day comes around, and when I show up, there's about 11 others there for the interview, ranging from ages 14 to 30. There was also a guy who I knew there, which eased my nerves a bit. To my surprise, before the interview actually started, I overheard a few of the others saying that they'd done this before, and they knew exactly what to expect. We all sat in a semicircle where two ladies sat in the middle of us. First, we had to introduce ourselves one by one, and then the one and only question was asked. One of the ladies in the middle asked, "Who is your favorite actor and why?" I found this question bizarre, and I was second to answer. The guy before me said someone's name and kept it real brief as to why. I myself said the first actor that came to mind, which was Leonardo DiCaprio, and I think I said because he's a great actor and a good guy in real life. However, after this, the answers only got more and more ridiculous. People started going incredibly deep into their chosen actors' backgrounds and personal life. But next, the most bizarre moment came. We were told there was one more thing to do before the interview was over. Another person then walked in with a basket full of newspaper, scissors, straws, and sticky tape. We were split into groups of 4 and instructed to build a tower out of the materials provided. After 10 minutes, the group with the tallest tower would be deemed the winner. 10 minutes pass, and the group that wins were all the people who'd been there before. Our towers were scrapped, and we were then told that we will be emailed how we went on our interview by the end of the week. I get home, and before I go to bed, I check my emails and see an email from them saying I was unsuccessful. The next day, I contact the guy I knew who was there, and he tells me that the person who got the job was a girl that he went to school with, who also happened to be the manager's niece. Supposedly, she also said to him that she was told that she was always going to get the job. TLDR, had a ridiculous group interview even though the result was determined before the interview. Yeah, that's really frustrating. I feel like if you're gonna do it anyway, don't waste people's time. Don't do that. Like, you're wasting your own time conducting group interview, and you're really wasting all these people's times and their hopes, and they could have been at a different interview. They could be focusing on getting a different job, and you already know what you're gonna do, so just do it. You know what I mean? Like, maybe you can hold a little private interview for BS sake, but why would you do that? So messed up. Anyway, that is going to wrap up today's video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and drop a like and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Really quickly, I'd like to thank my patrons. Up on the screen, you should see my face palmers and my crazy case. Thank you all so much for supporting me in that way. If you are interested in becoming a patron, checking out the original posts from today's video, or sending me an email for possible inclusion in a future video, all of that information is in the description box, so be sure to check it out. And I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye!